Hi, my name is Leandro Facchinetti, and let's write some code together, shall we? What we have on the menu is to continue working on Arya's website. Hello, Arya.
Hi, how's it going? Thanks for having me, and thanks for all the stuff you've been doing for my website. Really excited
Yeah,
and really
so
appreciative.
as far as I understand, IDDQDsound.com is going away in a couple of days, right?
On 23rd, on 23rd, it will no longer. I'm still very unclear as to what's going to happen. Apparently, I will have access to it. And apparently the links will still so I'm not sure if the links will still work and it would just show Wix ads, which would be not a big deal for a short time, or if just the domain will fully go offline. But in any event, if we then start to redirect the domain, then people will not see the stuff they normally see.
Yeah, so I think that the goal for today should be to first come up with something. Oh, and by the way, this is the work in progress of what we are doing. So I think that first we need to get this in shape so that you would not be ashamed of putting this under IDDQDsound.com. Just for the transition. Of course, not everything will be migrated necessarily, but at least we'll have something that we can put up there instead of a Wix ad or something. And that probably means having some of these links to social media and probably hiding some of the parts of the site that are not complete, hiding them from the menu, I mean. So that sort of thing, just a quick polish and not having things like click here for the yada, 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 that sort of thing. Get it in shape for the transition and then start the transition so that you don't end up offline for some days. But the blog may be offline and we will finish the migration later. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, sounds good. Actually, the blog is probably the one that gets the most hits from everything that I do. But yeah, like I will make a post on my channel like, y'all, the blog is going to be down. You know, ask questions in the meantime from me and I'll try to give it to you, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do our best to migrate as much as we can. At least I think that if we migrate the media, like the zips and that sort of thing, that would help, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll see. We'll see how far we can go. So the plan for today is to get the home page in shape for transition. Start the transition. And when I say transition, I mean the domain. And then, I guess, scrape everything else that we may need from the current website. And of course, I guess this comes first. So I think that the most important thing is to get this in shape. And then we will start the transition as soon as we can, but let's get everything out of there first. We have downloaded all the HTML, but we have not downloaded all the images, all the zips and attachments and that sort of thing. So yeah, scraping everything.
I do have the website media.
But that's not the same, right?
No, so wait, did I put that in our GitHub? Like Wix allows me to get a zip file with all the media and they are original quality. So I compared a few of them. So I have some images and stuff that we saw, like they were kind of, the size was optimized in the blog posts, but the images that existed separately, I also have those. Yeah. And then all the download bundles that I gave people, those are also there.
Yes, I see them here. And in fact, you sent me last week. The problem is...
yeah, that's right.
The problem is the names. Because on the HTML that we downloaded, this image is not referred to as 3 free keys JPEG. It is the optimized version, which is not the same name. So you would have to manually go through every asset on the website, both images and zips and everything. And you would have to re-link stuff. Well, I guess that the zips will not be optimized. So I guess the zips may be referred to as the actual zips in the posts. We can check. It's not hard to check, actually. We can just go to... We have already downloaded the HTML, so we can just look for this. Yeah, it seems like it's not using this name. So
that's a bummer.
Yeah, they changed the name of the zips as well. I don't know exactly how why or how they're doing that.
Yeah, why?
But what they are doing is they are changing all the names. So if I look for something like this in the site, you will not find it. And it will be under a different name that goes something like this. Static, Wix static, blah, blah, blah. So we'll need to map this material with one of these images. But we can, and I propose that we do that. We just download this. And then it will have this weird name, but that's, whatever. We'll have this image. So if we want to rename the image, whatever, we'll have the reference. We'll keep the link.
Okay. Cool.
Alternatively, I was considering that we could try to look at the contents of the images and match using that. So we would write probably there exists some library, some tool that will look at two images and give you a coefficient of similarity. Of course, one has been optimized, so you cannot look at the bit patterns. The files are not exactly the same, but it's the same image. So I suppose there is some library that could look at the images and find the equivalent images, and that could be a fun script to write. But in any case, even to do that...
Like a color space, kind of, like it's looking at the RGB. Because there is the Google reverse image search. So if you have like a screenshot of an image and you put it on there, it usually finds the original image.
Yeah. So something like that, but I don't know how it works, and I don't know a library that does this. I just imagine that that's something that would exist, and it could save us like 4 hours of work trying to match the names. It could be a fun project. We'll see. But in any case, even to do that, we'll have to download the images from the existing website to feed to this algorithm engine or what have you. And on the chat, we have Bo. Hey, Bo. Great to have you here. Changing the subject a bit. How about we get in touch with and invite the author of FreeQ? I am all down for that, yes. If you want to get in touch with Justin and if he wants to participate, I would love to hear from him. He has a lot more experience than I do doing graphical user interfaces and even the filter stuff. I was doing some research on how the filters in Ableton Live and in ReQ work. And I found this like forum posts from 3 years ago by Justin. And he was talking about that with people, and particularly about oversampling and anti-aliasing, and yeah, lots of fun stuff. So yeah, if you can invite him, please do so. Okay, so
I just checked the Google reverse image search, and it is very impressive. So I uploaded one of my images that I knew is online in places other than my website, and it found it. I'll even see if it finds my website, and that'll be pretty badass.
But do you think is this something that you think we could use for our problem of finding the correlation between images?
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
Because you're definitely the person to know that.
Well, I don't think that we could use something like that because our task is different. Our problem is we have some images in lower quality and higher quality, and we want to match them. While Google is indexing all the images that exist on the web, and then you can search through that. But the images that we actually care about, these images don't even exist on the web. You uploaded them to Wix, optimize the images, and then we don't have the originals on the web.
So we're just kind of looking at the underlying, I guess the underlying thing that Google is doing is a good starting point, but we wanted to just kind of do a one-to-one. Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And Bo, thanks for getting in touch with Justin. I really appreciate that. One of the perks of doing these kinds of streams is that we can meet these people. And yeah, I really like it. Okay, so let's get started with getting the homepage in shape for a transition. So let's look at the homepage from my computer. This here is the version that is online right now, but let's go to the version on my computer, which will be in localhost. So same website, just running on my computer, and then all the changes we make, we can see right there. So, well, I think that there are some things missing, some things that need to be changed, and some things that are just going to stay. So let's see. This is the thing that we are working on. These are our references. So I think that the logo and this is just going to stay. And then these links, I think that maybe to begin with, we'll not have them working yet, right?
Okay.
Yeah, let's suppose that this is not going to happen. Let's start simple. So I'm going to come here to this nav, which is our little menu. And I'm going to hide it. So it's still going to be there, but we are going to hide it visually. So so it's not in the way. And of course, when we get things going, we can just come here and unhide, and they'll be back.
Can we possibly have maybe like a yellow strip saying, website under reconstruction, some links may not work, get in touch if you have any questions or something like that? Yeah,
how about we have like even above everything on the website, like a big warning?
Sure. Yeah, that would be really nice.
Okay, so let's find where we have this situation going, and it's right here in the header. So we just have a div. Oh, hanging there. We have this justify center, which is not going to do us any favors for this one. So I guess I'll have it even before the header. I'll just have a div there.
In HTML, like when you're coding from top down, that is also how they would on the page be geographically. So if you want to be if you're writing code to be below my image, the code actually has to go below the image, right?
Well, if you don't style anything, yes, the order of the things on the page matches the order of the source. But using CSS, you can style things and then you can reposition everything.
Cool.
There is this really cool experiment back in the early 2000s, I think, called the Css Garden. And the Css Garden is just the same HTML, and everyone gets that exact same HTML, but they write different style sheets, different CSS, and end up with different designs. So, for instance, you can just browse through, and it is completely different. Looks completely different, but it's the same HTML underneath.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, there is a lot of power in in what you can do with CSS. So, for instance, you can see that this sidebar here is here on this version, but on this version, I don't actually even see where it is. Oh, it's down here. So it's not on the side, it's below everything. And yeah, things that you can do with just CSS. So, but of course, unless you have a really weird scenario like the CSS Garden, or maybe you are working with some HTML that you did not generate, you have no control over the HTML for whatever reason, then you have to pull the tricks in CSS. But by default, you would usually just order the things in a way that makes sense. I would not put my header at the bottom of the document and then restyle it to go to the top using CSS.
Cool.
So I'll say warning, we are just styling this, then we change the text later. But we have a dark theme going on, so let's have some red let's make it dark, and we'll see what that looks like. And then for the color of the text, it's always nice to go with the same color but a different shade. So yeah, let's see what this will look like.
Do we have to give it text so that we can see the text? Oh, okay. There we go.
Yeah, I just had to scroll up a bit. So
cool.
I think that we need to wrap the to constrain the text so that it's in this portion, right? Same as the rest of the page. So let's do that. In fact, I think that we can borrow the styles from below. And the margins look okay, and I don't think we need this. So now let's see what this looks like. And meanwhile, Bo has never heard of the CSS Garden. Yes, it is old. This is from like about when I started doing stuff for the web. I mean, now I'm curious, when was this created? Yeah, 2003.
Wow.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I was 13, so yeah, that's when I started doing web development. So yeah, the margins.
We're the same age?
I'm 30.
Oh, me too. Wow. When's your birthday?
October 20th.
Oh, coming up. Okay, so you're even a few months younger than me.
Oh, there you go.
Crazy.
So the horizontal space is fine, and the horizontal space is of course only relevant when you have a narrow screen like a phone. So the horizontal space is working, but the vertical space I don't think is working. I think it's too wide. What do you think?
I think it's good because when it was thin earlier, I'm like, people may not see it.
Okay. So I think that we can go maybe a little bit brighter.
Sure.
Oh,
yeah.
And Bo is October 21st, so we can all have a big party.
Crazy. Joint birthday live stream.
Okay, so you like the margins. What I don't like is the colors, so let's tweak the colors. I think that we can maybe go for something brighter.
Yeah.
How about that? And then
that looks good.
This can be maybe 50. Yeah.
50 looks good. Yeah.
Okay. And then you have to write this text. Do you know what you want to say there?
I'm sure. I'll put it in the chat.
Okay. Have you already written the thing, or are you going to write it now?
No, I'm going to quickly. I just thought of it, so.
Okay. Oh, we could have a live share going on, and then you could type in the document, which is even better.
I thought last time when we were doing the live share, it was making your video more jumpy and laggy. Yeah. So for just this text.
Okay, then I will turn it off. Then it's ending. Oh, I'm pretty sure that you will want to have a link in this text, right? A link of some sorts, like to an email address or something. So I was going to start styling the menu. Yeah, you do have a link there. Let me grab that.
A lot of people say like you shouldn't just have your email on your website because of spammers. The funny thing is I never get spammed on the email that's on my website. I get spammed on the email that I made my website account with, which is a different email.
Yeah. I don't usually get spam on the email that I have on my website either. I usually get spam on an email that I use to register a domain in Brazil to register a .com.br, you have to, you cannot buy on Namecheap or one of these places like Wix. You have to go through a registrar in Brazil, and I made an account there, and they sold my email address, so I get spam from there.
Oh wow!
And Wix, Bo is saying that Wix probably has a filter that hides your email address. Let's see, where is your email address on your website? Contact?
I think it's in contact. Yeah.
No filter.
Yeah, I think I chose it. I think I chose to have it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think you can choose to hide it.
Okay, contact me at, and then let's make this a link.
Cool.
And it will not look like a link right now. But that's because we have a different background color and everything, so we'll have to style the link. So let's do that. Do we already have styles for links somewhere that we can borrow?
I don't think we've done links before on our thing.
We have. It is like the menu is a link, and even the logo is a link.
Yeah.
So we'll just say that in this box, a link will look like this, except that instead of purple, it will be red. And the color of the text is currently 50, so it will go to like 200 on hover and 300 on active. And we don't really need this class. And
maybe links that are texts can have like the underline, just so that it's like explicit if you're reading, that if you do hover, you will have a link. You know what I mean?
Yes. Like so.
Beautiful. Awesome.
Oh, I really like the way that the line wrapped. So this contact me at wrapped very nicely.
Yeah, lovely.
Okay. Do you want to start using your domain as a redirect? If you go to Namecheap, that is trivial to do. So we could have something like aria@iddqdsound.com that will redirect to this if you want.
Sure. So you mentioned if and I forgot the thing you used, but you asked me to ask Wix because they still have their domain for another year. I asked me to ask them if we can redirect it, and I forgot what you said, but I asked that and they said yes. Remind me what that is?
Oh, it's
DNS.
Yes, it's to configure DNS or to transfer to another provider, another registrar.
So the Wix does allow you, if you just buy the domain from them, to
configure DNS.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So do you want to keep using Wix for the DNS? Do you want to switch to something else?
I guess since I have it for another year, might as well.
Okay, so in that case, we are not doing the email redirect. And this is what it looks like.
Oh, okay. The email redirect is very sweet. So maybe I'll go to Namecheap. Like that'll cost me what, like a loss of $6-ish.
I don't know. Maybe we'll keep the. I don't really know how this works. It has been a long time since I did it, but maybe Wix will tell to Namecheap, okay, this guy is transferring his domain, and on our side, he still has an year. So on your side, you can start charging 1 year from now. I don't know. I know.
Okay, cool.
I really don't know. You'll have to check.
Cool. I'm looking at Namecheap then. Your domain is eligible to transfer.
But keeping everything in Wix is fine. And maybe even Wix has some email redirect.
I think you gotta pay for it extra, because they try to make you pay extra for stuff. which is why I don't have that now. Like my email is just Gmail.
I see.
Because you had to pay like something extra.
I see. Okay, so let's continue moving forward. So we have the link, or the warning message above. Then we have the logo for the website, and then you have your picture. And this text is something that we probably want to change. Do you already have the final version?
On the homepage, this is the final version.
No, it isn't.
On the homepage, it's just a very quick. Oh, you mean like click here for the yada yada yada? Yeah, I have that biography, and I sent it. It's on a repository, I think.
I don't think it is, because I don't see anything that it would need to pull.
Oh, I am throwing it on there. Now it's on there, and now I have to push on my side, right?
Yes.
Do you have to push first and then I push?
No, you can just push.
Cool. Bio, ship links. And I think that did it. It's called full bio, and it's a text file. And the text has embedded links in it, which I don't know if like that'll be extra work to
No, it will be fine.
Them. Cool.
I still don't see anything on GitHub though.
Did I do it right on my end? It says one change file I committed to main. And push origin. I forgot to push origin because it's been a while.
Yeah.
Okay, now I pushed.
Now it's there.
Okay.
And I see it on GitHub, so it is there. That much I know. But this button is not working. Let's go to the command line.
I am in parallel gonna transfer to Namecheap, my domain.
Oh, okay. And that will take like a solid 3 to 4 days, I think.
Oh, okay. So you think I should just do it as homework?
No, you may start doing that, but the process is, it usually goes like this. You have to unlock the domain on the current register, because the process is kind of bureaucratic on purpose so that people don't get to steal your domain easily. So you have to like unlock your domain, and then you have to request a transfer. And then you have to wait a few days for the transfer to actually occur.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, Wix is making it hella annoying. This email belongs to this account. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm trying to.
Okay, so I have your full bio here. Hang in there. That's not what you want to be on the homepage, is it?
No, that is where it says click for the yada yada yada. That would link to this, which will be the bio page.
Okay. I see. So let's finish
just
this.
A short biography on the home page.
Okay, so let's finish this text. I am Arya. I work in the realm of music and film audio and make audio tutorials in my spare time. I was born in Iran, spent most of my 20s moving from continent to continent with my band. Now, what do you want to say? Do you literally want to say yada, yada, yada?
Yeah, like, because it's a very long story, so I'm trying to have a short bio going. I guess, that's redundant. Like the yada, yada, yada just can be a thing. And I live in Canada, where I work as a freelance dialogue and podcast editor, film composer, and tutor. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just link to /bio. Let's see what this looks like. And we have to make the yada 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 link as well. Let me think about this. How we want to actually manage this. I went with .link. And yeah, okay. So I think I know how I want to do this. I would just say that in the main, where is this? Let me think. We have a div with this definition. I will copy and paste from there. And maybe not even there, but here. Yeah, okay. I'm thinking ahead and how we are going to extract this bit into a separate page, and we have everything else as a template, and I'm trying to manage how that will work in my head. What kind of gray are we using on this project? Warm. So if the default is 200, let's go to 400, 500, or maybe even we can go blue. Yeah, that would work. And by default, it will be blue 200. We'll see. We'll tweak the colors, but yeah, I think it can be maybe a little bit darker. Or do you want to go with purple, like an accent color situation? So
when people hover on a link?
No, just the color of links in general.
Yeah. If it's not too dark that it will be harder to read, I'm super into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that 500 is too much. Yeah, like 300 is okay. 400 is also acceptable. Yeah, I guess 400 would be nice. What do you think?
Let me look at it. Yeah, that's clear.
Okay.
I guess it's a question, like it's clear for me. Are there people whose color space, the thing we were talking about yesterday, like are there people for whom this will look too dark on dark? Maybe we can go for 200 for safety.
We'll
or
see.
300, yeah.
300, 200. 200 is almost...
Is like barely visible, yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe just 3.
Yeah, okay. So we do 300, and then on hover we can go to like 200 and then 400 for active. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I think it works.
Cool. It's saying on Namecheap 1180. That's fine with me. I just want my nightmares to be over. Beautiful.
And what I am doing is I am reviewing how we are managing styles for different kinds of links. We have a kind of link here, we have another kind of link here and on the menu, and we have links here, and I want them to kind of make sense. At least in the code, it needs to be manageable. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but I think I like what I have now. Yeah, right. Okay, so let's, since you're linking to this, let's do the /bio page. And that's fun because that is the second page on the website. And currently we only have one, so we have to make an infrastructure for having a second page. And I guess the infrastructure is going to be, we'll have a layout function which receives a body and returns some HTML. And then we're going to break this apart. We're going to break this in two parts. One part being the part that is always the same on every page, and the second being the part that is different for index. So this much up to here is the same on every page. It goes into the layout. And then this, yes, here. This goes into the layout as well.
BRB, just gonna get my credit card real quick.
Okay, meanwhile, what I am doing is the extraction of things that are going to be the same on every page. And I messed up in the process, so the parentheses are wrong, and now we're going to fight parentheses and delimiters in general. Did that fix it? It fixed some issues, but not all of them. Guess we have a close parens here. Let's see if this is going to be okay. No, it's not. We still have leftover parentheses here. And now it's okay. I can tell that it's okay because prettier is happy. So let's see what we got. Oh yeah, when we actually have the material that we want to have on the page, right here, we need to put it there. And there you have it. Now, let's start this again. Since we had syntax errors and everything, yeah, it seems like there is still a syntax error. Missing a closing. Oh, okay. We have some asynchronous stuff here, so we have to make this function asynchronous. And here we have to await on the layout function. All right. So the page should look the same, and it does. And the HTML should only change in terms of spacing and whatnot. Yeah, so this div is there, the spacing is different, but the div is still there. This space is different. We see some spacing differences here and there, but the HTML is the same. So my refactoring is successful. And when I say refactoring, I just mean I'm doing the same thing in a different way, preparing for what I'm about to do next, which is we already have the index page. Now let's create the bio page.
Cool. So I think I did the thing. I think I transferred my domain, and it actually ended up costing me only $9 instead of $12 that they said initially. But I understand that this will take a bunch of time.
Did it say how much?
Did it say how much time?
Yeah.
Not here. Is there a way for me to find out? I guess if I now go to my site and it's offline, that means that it's been transferred?
Yes, that is a good way of knowing it.
Okay, now so far it's looking like how it did before, so.
Yeah. I guess one thing we can do is since you already asked for the domain transfer and you already have an account in Namecheap, we can configure Namecheap to point to the GitHub location, because then when the transfer is done, it will not just go offline. It will go to the new version.
Cool.
Yeah, so we can take care of that at the
now
end.
it's a good time to set up the DNS for your domain.
Exactly.
Cool, we'll take care of that. Yeah, cool.
Exactly what I'm proposing. So we'll do that today. So we now have 2 pages. They look the same, but they are 2 pages. This is the home page and this is the bio page. So
cool.
Let's commit what we have. And let's bring back the menu, right?
Mm-hmm.
So remember how I said that we are sort of using a bespoke static website generator? One of the things that we have in this bespoke website generator, one of the features of the website generator is templates. So all the frame around the page, we did not repeat. Mm-hmm. It is the same in both of these pages, but we did not repeat it in the code. And the cool thing about doing that is that when I unhide the menu, it shows up here and there as well, as soon as the thing refreshes. Or at least it should go there anyway.
So then also, like, if you make like some changes, then that'll get reflected on everything else.
Yes, that's the intent. Oh, there is an issue here. So, as I'm going to install a library that I like for this. And instead of using fs promises, we'll use fs extra. And then when I say mcdir, I will say ensure dir.
Oh, by the way, I'll put this on the GitHub as well, because Bo did an edit on my photo.
Okay.
So we'll just swap that out at some point too.
Great. So that fixed it, and now the bio page also has the menu. But not all of these menu options are done. So let's
right now. Yeah.
Go back to the menu and hide some of these. So the home exists, but almost everything else does not. So let's hide a bunch of things.
Can we do, for example, for the tutorials, like make the page and it would currently just say, here's the YouTube channel, go fish?
Yeah, sure. Of course we can do that. So before I even do that, I want to make the menu work. We have to look at the page where we are at.
Cool.
And highlight the different parts of the menu. So take care of that now. To make that work, my layout, it needs not only the body, but the path as well. And I guess I'll call this something like the file. Then when calling the layout, I'll have to pass this. And dash. Now this is not going to change the output of anything. We only have the information being passed. But now that I have that information, I can go to the menu and I can do a conditional. If my file is just index.html, then go to the home, or highlight the home. So if that is the case, active, otherwise nothing. Oh, and you see this syntax? This is...
Yeah, that's very Lua.
No, actually Lua doesn't have this. JSFX.
Or sorry, EEL2.
Yes.
That's cool.
But Lua doesn't have this syntax on purpose because this syntax is kind of weird looking and maybe hard to read.
It's like if and. So all, like, when you look at a website, all the different pages, that's still just one index .html file.
No, they are different files. I'll show you in a second.
Okay.
Let me just finish renaming these things. But yeah, index.html is the home page, this page. And then we have a folder with another index.html in there, and that's the bio page. So we create folders like this. Okay, so I think that fixes it. Yes, now the home has home highlighted, the bio has bio highlighted. And all the other ones will follow. Now there is some repetition here that I dislike. I also have to like create the folder, and they kind of look similar, and there is some repetition in this part. So I guess I'm going to create a function to extract the similarities. This function will be called like page. The page will need a file and a body, essentially. And what it will do is similar to what's happening here, except that here and there I'll say page or file. And because I have this file situation, I can just do it like this. And then the body, again, I'll have a body situation. So I can just do it like that. And I also have to ensure directory, right? That's not necessary for the first, but it's necessary for the second. So I will get just the dir name of this file. So there's another library we can use. It comes with Node.js. It's part of the standard libraries. There is this path library, and I can say path dir name of the file to ensure that the directory exists before I try to write the file.
I like when an accidental band name is created when people talk. So you just said body situation. I'm like, I like that as a band name.
So now we can do something like page. Oh, and this is doing await, so it needs to be asynchronous. But we can do something like page index.html, and that is our file. And then the body, well, essentially this, I suppose.
Oh, hello, John. I suppose you finished streaming yourself.
Yeah, I noticed that you were streaming, but I couldn't watch it because I was working. But thanks for being here. And you say often it would be index.html or bio.html, for example, and style CSS for most of the appearance. Yes. So you can. Okay, let's talk about this. Let's get deeper into that. So there are two ways of organizing HTML pages. One is you have index.html and bio.html. And then you have some, in fact, GitHub Pages, the thing that we want to use to host, has this feature already, where it strips the .html at the end. So the URL just looks like /bio. And that's good. But I prefer to do it this way with folders for two reasons. First, you don't have to configure your web server to do the stripping of the extension. For instance, in the web server that we are using for development, I did not have to, I could have, but I didn't have to configure the stripping of the extensions. So that's one advantage. And advantage number two is that in many cases, your bio page will not be just the index.html. It will also be some images, some zip files, what have you. So because we have a folder for this, everything stays in a single place. And if you want to move it around, it goes as a piece. So that's why I prefer to have this organization. And then when you do this organization, the URLs come for free, because if you don't specify a file name here at the end, it's just going to look for index.html. So I think it's simpler and better. So I prefer to do it this way, but there is no right or wrong. It's just a matter of preference. So if I did everything correctly with this refactoring, it should maybe change the spacing of some things because of indentation and everything and line length, but it should not change anything else besides spacing on the HTML pages. And I can prove, yeah, I just looked at the thing and that's right. So now we have something that I really like going on here in this code. We can just create a page with a certain file and a certain body, and yeah, in this looks about the kind of thing that we can start working with. So now we have your bio, and oops, I accidentally clicked on that link. And at least for me, YouTube Studio has a loading thing, so maybe it's not working. I don't know. In any case, so
let me check.
I think it's back now. Whatever. So you just want this whole text to appear on the page, and the only kind of styling that I see is some links. Awesome. Let's see if we can export this into something that we can use right away.
Sure.
Import, export, revert, rename, duplicate. Okay.
If instead of, I guess, yeah, if you use pages, that'll give you more options.
Well, I'll just find something online.
Is very variable. Or yeah, because pages is annoying. Oh my god, what are they doing?
Yeah, so that's a question I want to ask. What do you want to use for editing? Because you used to use the Wix editor for writing your posts.
Right.
Do you know what you want to use now?
This is a great question. I mean, I don't know what my options are, I guess, other than just kind of hearing about WordPress and not being sure what exactly it is.
Yeah, so yeah, if you're using WordPress, it's going to come with its own editor. I will present you some options. The first is writing HTML by hand. That's the purest option. That's no intermediaries. You can just do what we are doing. You write HTML by hand. Now, it's good because I have complete control over what's going on. It's bad because it's super low level, and I personally don't recommend that. But it's an option. You wanted to know your options. That's the option, and it is a valid one. My advisor used to have many websites for his courses and his personal webpage and everything, and he just wrote HTML by hand. And once you get used to it, I mean, paragraph is P, heading is H, images is EMG. It's not the end of the world. Option number one.
That level of HTML coding, I feel like, yeah, I already can just kind of do.
Yeah, so that's one option. I don't like it myself. I think it's too verbose. It gets in the way of writing, but it's an option. Option number two is you write in some language that transforms into HTML. We can use some tool to produce HTML from what you're writing. And well, I guess those are the only two options. Either you write HTML by hand or you write something that transforms into HTML. Now, what are the options of things that you can write that will transform into HTML? I'm going to start with my preferred option. Oh, and by the way, I said that it's a perfectly valid option, and you said that my website was one of the references for you. So my website is so simple. I don't have a blog or anything going on there. It is so simple that I write the HTML by hand for the website. You can see it right here. And yeah, that's that. Nothing too interesting going on. But it's a simple website. I don't think it scales well when you start having a blog and more content in your bio and everything. Gets in the way of writing. Okay, so what is this language that compiles to HTML? Well, it is called Markdown. Have you heard of Markdown?
Markdown? No, I don't think so. John is saying he uses HTML for his freelance. Oh, crazy. And then WordPress. So, yeah, Reaper blog, I know you told me, is WordPress, which is very cool. It looks good.
Yeah, so if you go to like Reddit, let me open this on my second screen to see if there is anything embarrassing that I don't want to show. Oh, okay. It's not even logged in. Okay, I'm not going to log into Reddit now because it has two-factor authentication and it's annoying. But if you go to Reddit and you want to make something in your post bold, do you know how to do that?
Is it the same as how it works on the just Reaper forums? Because I know how to do it in Reaper forums.
It's not. It's not the same. It's similar though. It's similar in spirit.
Okay.
But yeah, so maybe this is not going to be a good match for you unless you are interested in learning Markdown. But yeah, Markdown is this language that is used in Reddit. It's used in GitHub. It's used in. Have you heard of Stack Overflow? It's this forum for many things. Actually, it's a forum for programmers. But
it sounds really easy. It sounds like it's not going to be a whole process to learn. Like I would learn it in a few, and honestly, like my uses are like bold, underline, italics, and then just kind of like images. So I assume that level of Markdown will not take me too long to learn.
Yeah, there is a document by GitHub that is supposed to be a couple minutes, and that will teach you most of what you care about. But I can like give you a flavor of what it is, and then you can decide if that's the language that you want to use, because you have options, right? Everything under the sun compiles to HTML, and it's a matter of what you know how to use and what you like using. But the Reaper forums use something similar to Markdown in spirit. It's a language that is more natural to write. You don't have to write as many tags for things, but it compiles to HTML, of course, because it's showing up on a web page. It's HTML. So the way that Markdown works is, for things like bold, you put asterisks, 2 of them, and for italics, just 1 asterisk. For links, that's how you write a link. So this is what the text of the link will be. This is where the link is going to point to. And this is a language that, as I said, is going to work in many places, even places that you would not expect. And you can bet that for sure on my day job, it's a forum. So yeah, you can bet that you can write Markdown in there.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's...
I guess if you want a single asterisk, if you're actually typing an asterisk, what are you doing then?
Okay, so let me show you. Let me copy and paste this example. And here in Visual Studio Code, you can see the source for the Markdown as well as the HTML rendered. So this is what would show up on your web page. So if you want literally just an asterisk, here is an asterisk. Just put it there.
Oh, but then if I later have another asterisk, it's not gonna... Oh.
Now, what is the issue is, what if you want to have an asterisk touching a word like this? Then it becomes bold. So to disambiguate, you have to put a backslash. And then it's escaping the asterisk. But this is an edge case. Usually you would not have asterisks. Usually you would use asterisks for things like lists. But then Markdown is smart enough to know that this is a list. So it doesn't compile to a literal asterisk. It compiles to the HTML for a list, as you can see here.
That's cool. Yeah, I think Markdown, like I'm super open to learning it. There'll be a little bit of a learning curve, but I'm okay with it. Okay.
So we'll give that a try. So as another example of one of the things that I did on my secret podcast that no one knows about, these posts are written in Markdown. And of course, I don't do much, but I do like bold and lists and so on. And I use Markdown for this.
Cool.
So it's a lovely little language. And yeah, so that's what I was thinking about, because if we are going to use this full bio, we need to convert from the RTF into a format. And I can convert it directly to HTML. We just found a web page that promises to do that.
Cool.
Oh, yeah, it's here. So this page promises to do that, but I can also convert to something other than HTML directly, I can convert to whatever authoring language you want to end up using. So it seems like they don't support Markdown.
Cool.
But I'm sure that we'll find some RTF to Markdown converter. Hopefully one that we can just paste. Okay, paste to Markdown. Oh, excellent. So I can copy this, paste there, and we end up with some Markdown that we can use. And I guess I am going to start creating different files for this. So here is your RTF converted into Markdown. You can see that the links now look like this.
Uh-huh.
But other than that, I don't think there's a lot of styling.
The links one I knew from Reddit, but I never went like the bold and stuff direction on Reddit. Cool.
Okay. Okay, so now we have this index file, and I guess I can remove the RTF from the repository. And let's come back to our static website generator. And now we'll need to find all these Markdown files and convert them, right? So how about we start
ultimately to HTML, right?
Sorry?
We're ultimately going to be pasting HTML into the site, no matter what I use to start.
Yes. Let's also create an index Markdown here. And because you want to author your website using this, and the index is a web page, so how about we just have that as Markdown as well? And that's kind of silly because I'm doing the other way around, right? I have some HTML and I'm going to convert it back into Markdown just to convert it back. But for when you want to make changes, it's nice to have your whole website in the same kind of language. The language being Markdown.
Oh, that's cool.
And a cool thing about Markdown is that it is a superset of HTML. And what I mean by that is everything that is HTML is valid Markdown, and then some. So if you just write it like this is HTML. But it also happens to be Markdown. So
with Markdown, because I thought Markdown is only text, like, because I was going to ask you, like, if in Markdown I can add a link to an image, or I can add an image, but I cannot resize an image. I would still have to use HTML if I want to resize an image, for example.
Fair point. Yes. If you want to resize an image, then you escape to, you just start using HTML in there and everything will be fine.
Cool.
So we'll remove these HTML stuff from here, and let me commit what I have. But at this point, the web page is broken. Yeah, not super broken, but there is nothing in there, no material in there, because I removed everything and I pasted into the Markdown files. So now we have to wire the Markdown files back into the website. And for that, we'll need a couple more libraries. So we'll use a Markdown processor. So this remark tool is capable of getting Markdown and producing HTML. And it's super modular. So you can do a lot of things with remark if you want to be sophisticated. Like in course lore, we do sophisticated things with Markdown so that you are able to do, if you are teaching a course on mathematics, for instance, you want to show mathematical formulas in there, and remark is capable of doing that. But in this project, I think we're going to go super simple. So let me just go to the docs for remark HTML, and we'll probably be able to grab an example from there. Yeah, I'll need to install this. Yeah, I guess I'll install the whole shenanigans. Why not? Remark and remark HTML and okay, yeah. And did I include unified? I don't think I did. Oh, and there is a wrinkle. These packages have been updated and they now work differently. So I need to grab not the latest versions of them. The quickest way for me to do this is to just refer to my day job. I have done that already. Yes. So So what do I want from here? I want unified at this version. Let's grab this, paste it into a temporary buffer. So I will want not this, that, yes, no, sure. Why not? Doesn't hurt. That and that. And those two. Okay. And these. Oh, that is so annoying. I don't have the exact versions of these. Okay. Guess I'll do this by hand then and find the versions that I want. So I know that I will
They
need...
have 500,000 downloads a month. That's insane.
Yeah, this is the most popular Markdown renderer in the world, in any language, in any project. Yeah. Yeah, let's do this the right way. Just to use unified. Now this part is part of the setup that we only need to do once. We are sort of creating the static website generator that is tailored for the kind of material that you create. So it's a bit of setup that is kind of annoying to have to do, but it gives us ultimate control over your website, which is a good thing. And I will also want you write a raw and I want to get the right versions of all these things. So we want the latest before then, which is this. So we are going to install unified. So as I mentioned, this Markdown library is super powerful and you can, it's like a bunch of Lego blocks that you can compose in any way you want. And the tool you use to compose this Lego blocks is called Unified. And all of these tools in this ecosystem have been updated to use a newer technology that we are not using yet. So we need to use not the latest version. And that's why I'm doing this work of finding the right versions of everything. So for Remark itself, that's the Markdown Processor, we want version 13. And this is what converts Markdown into HTML. And for that, we want version 8.10. So Remark rehype at this version. Then Remark HTML, that is not necessary really, because we are using Remark rehype, and let's also use rehype stringify. And can I get like a changelog for this? Oh, maybe there's releases. There we go. So let's look for ESM, and we want something older than 12. So we're not interested in parse. So I guess the version before 12 was 8. Don't ask me. And then this, let's look for ESM. So we want something older than 6, which is this. So for
I'll be right back.
Raw. Okay. Okay, we have this. And then we have to require all these libraries be installed. those libraries.
Sorry.
No problem. So now I'm requiring the libraries. I installed the libraries. Now I'm requiring them so I'm able to use them. And I'm going to, in the package JSON file, they are ordered alphabetically, but I want to order them in a way that makes sense intuitively. So the platform that allows us to compose the blocks is called Unified. And then, oh, I think that installing remark is not really necessary. I think that we actually want, what is it that we want? We want remark parse. And then, can we get a changelog for this? We have stringify and parse. Okay, let's see. Remark parse. Yeah, version 9 is probably the one that we want. Okay, so this will be remark parse. So let's order this. The platform, unified. Then we need to parse the markdown. And by parse, I just mean this program is going to look at the text that we write in these files, and it's going to understand what the text means. Then we actually want to convert the markdown into HTML. So that's what this is for. And you may be wondering, what would you want to do if not convert to HTML? Why is this a thing? Well, you can just parse the markdown, transform the markdown, and produce markdown, if that's what you need in your application. So that's why this has to be explicit. It's a very low-level tool. And then we want to be able to write HTML raw like this. So that's why I'm bringing this HeRipe raw library.
Cool.
And then,
so ultimately, when if I go to when I write Markdown, like say on the index.md that we have, if I change a word, that would automatically get converted to HTML, or I still have to do an operation?
No. Yeah, you'll have. Yeah, you have instant preview.
Beautiful. That's nice.
Yeah. We'll have to do a bit of work for that to work, but that's what we are working towards. So now we have imported the libraries that we are going to use. So let's scroll down, find where we want to use them. So the body now is not that. The body is read the file index.markdown, which is in UTF-8. That's a quirk of Node.js. You have to be explicit about the encoding. Then let's use unified. And let's plug in the pieces. These are the pieces. Here they are. And we will want to use them. And then after we create this processor, we can say, okay, I put all the pieces together. This is what I want to process. What do I want to process? Just a file. So can I pass just this maybe? That would be too good to be true, but we'll see. And then the result is asynchronous, so we'll await on that. And then here we'll just get the material. How do we do that? I guess we call to string. Okay, that was a bunch of things. Let's see if that has any chance of working. I'll go to the command line and test this real quick. So let's do all the imports.
Whatever we're doing now is causing a lot of audio jumpy jumps. So I'm just kind of observing that without knowing what can be done about it.
That's too bad. Do you think that it has to do with, well, live share is disabled. Maybe it's Skype.
Is it because you're like kind of modifying a bunch of lines together? I don't even know. So now it's back to normal.
So maybe the problem is that when I'm using Visual Studio Code, it uses a lot of GPU, and then my computer just doesn't tolerate that very well. Maybe, I don't know. So I'm just writing a quick script to test this and see how it works. I could also probably go to the website and copy some example from there, but we'll see. Invalid REPL word. Okay, I know what that is. This has to be a single line. Oh, I need to console log or I won't see anything. Okay, it interprets that string as literally a string. So what if I read the file and then it doesn't return anything? Okay. Time to find an example for this. No. That. Yes, that. Okay. And you just call to string of the file. Okay, that was supposed to work. I don't know. Let's see. Let's commit what we have and start a remove JS script because things are getting too nasty. And this was supposed to be a simple thing, you know? It's never that simple.
Nah, yeah, this is what I'm learning.
Okay.
But I think you're also a very thorough person, which is great, because I think your stuff doesn't fail.
Ah, it does. Of course it does from time to time. So what we want here is to read this file. Yeah, we don't get anything from there. Let's prove that we are reading the file the right way. We are. Let's prove that. Let's see what we have going on in the chain. So let's take this out. It's kind of a special case. Yeah, let's see what that does for us. Still nothing. What the heck? This is supposed to be so easy. And it's beating me to death.
Could it be there are things in the HTML that we like translated to the Markdown that somehow broke, and now we're translating them back? They're not coming back full circle to us?
It at least shouldn't be just an empty paragraph, right?
It should be something broken. If it's
let's try to do this synchronously. See if that is the issue. No. What the hell? Let's copy and paste the example from their web page and see if that works. Oh, I don't have to console log. They already console log in the example. I did not import that library. Okay, for the purposes of sanity, I will install Remark, the library, and I will import Remark, the library, but it's subsumed by Remark parse and rehype. But I will install it anyway. Fuck, I need not the latest version of Remark. npm install Remark add. So they introduced in version 14, they introduced ESM, so I want version 13. After the transition for ES to ESM is over, everyone will be happier, but meanwhile, it's so painful. Okay, so that works. This works. Now we just have to work back and find why our version is not working. So let's try to await on this. And then we can remove that, that. And that's how we wrote it. We wrote the thing in that order. Does that still work? Yes. And then instead of using string, we used toString, like so. Does that work? Yes. And instead of processing a string, we are processing a file.
Mm-hmm.
Does that work? Yes. And instead of using Remark, we used unified use Remark. Those two should be equivalent. Does that work? No. Remark parse and use. Well, I guess at this point we're sort of doing this. And I don't need settings. Yeah, and then there is the issue. Well, I guess I can just, to begin with, we'll use the thing that works and then we can figure out why it's not behaving well. And when we need the extra features, we add the extra features, but I guess I'll just have to live with that. So sad. And do it like this. Okay.
By the way, somewhat tangential, but remember at the beginning we tested to see if I can hear your keyboard clicking, and I couldn't, and somehow now I can. Maybe you're typing with more vigor now. You're in the heat
maybe.
of the moment or something. But yeah.
I'm getting so frustrated with this. You see, it's not generating HTML. It is generating another Markdown file, just in a different style. This is getting so uber annoying. It's so infuriating. What the heck is going on?
You know, I mean, if it helps, I will write an HTML and we can get rid of the whole Markdown thing.
No,
it's nice,
I mean, now it's a matter
it's
of pride. I need to be able to do this. It's such a simple task.
Yeah, I understand that, yeah.
And it's not even working like this. It's not generating HTML. Was it before in the previous tests?
Well, it generated something. It looks like HTML with P and so forth.
No. I will not take this. We'll get this to work. If it's the last thing I do. I have used this library before. I use it in my day job. Come on. How did I do it there?
Probably just the version situation.
No, it cannot be that. Where do I define this processor? Now Google Chrome is failing me. I cannot search on the text. Okay, I'll open this in Visual Studio Code. My computer is falling apart. The stream is super laggy, I suppose.
I'm checking. There's the occasional like that whenever you switch to or from Visual Studio Code. But that's always a thing.
If I want the quality to be good, I have to buy a second computer. So if anyone is willing to throw hundreds of dollars at me, then please do so.
I had a dream last night that was the best dream, and I woke up so disappointed. Somebody had donated 1 Bitcoin to me. But alas, it was just a dream.
Yeah, so I'm now copy and pasting code that I wrote before and that I know works. It was working half an hour ago. Before I started the stream, that's what I was working on, and it worked. So let's see if we can get this to work again on your project this time. And we have most of the libraries installed anyway, at least the ones that we care about. So the only thing missing is this part that reads the file. Okay, so let's go through this again. Unified, remark parse. We don't need that, or maybe we will have that. I don't know. This we definitely don't need. Then that, and then that. This we don't need. We don't need that. We don't need that. We definitely don't need this and that. Okay, and then this, and the markdown is that file, and then I console log the result. Here we are. Okay, so how is this different from what I wrote before? I have no idea. I would have to watch the parts of the stream. I guess one thing is this parse sync situation, but if I just turn it into asynchronous code, it should work just the same, right? Yes. So, go figure. In any case, we nailed this. And let's do this the simple, silly way. And this, of course, is super silly, but never mind that. Let's see if we have content. Again, npm start, and these pages should have content now. Yes.
Beautiful.
Okay, let's commit what we have and improve. Oh, I committed the remove file. Embarrassing. Okay, now of course this is silly. There is a lot of repetition, so let's extract this. Some of this may even go into the page stuff. So I'll create here a Markdown processor that will be this pipeline. I will also take a look at the package JSON because I think I installed more things than I need. For one thing, I know that I don't need the remark library. So let's see, we have this one is being used. This one is being used. Remark we don't need. And then parse is being used. And this is there. And then unified is there. And the jury is still out on this GitHub flavored markdown. We'll see if we need that, if we want that. Okay, let's commit this. Essentially, we just removed this library. And now we have a Markdown processor that we can use here and there. Let's see if the HTML changes. It should not change. The HTML should not change. Yeah, I don't see any changes here in the HTML. So that means it's working. Next, this whole line is being repeated. So how about we do it over here in the body? So the body will now be, well, we have options on where we want to do this. We can do it on the layout, or we can do it on the page function. I guess it makes sense to do it on the page because it may have some layout that we may want to use the layout in situations where we want to have more control over the page, and then we'll write raw HTML in that case. So let's do this here. So we'll use this line, and this is already asynchronous. Oh yeah, we need to say body. And then this is just the file, except that now there is this HTML and Markdown situation here, so we have to take care of that. In fact, I don't think we need to pass the body at all in this case. We can just pass the file. And then over here, we can do it like this. So we don't pass the body. And we have to ensure the directory. And over here, we'll just say that this is the file.html. And there, the file.markdown. And this, oh, no. What's going on? Oh, yeah, we need the file here to be HTML. There it is Markdown. Now, when I save this, it should not change the HTML files, and it didn't. So that is good.
Hey.
Moving further ahead, yeah, I don't know. Guess that's good for now. Oh, since we are going to be using Markdown, we can just use Markdown here as well for the link and for the paragraph and everything. So that should be an easy transform. Let's do that. But let's decide on the remark GitHub flavor Markdown. So remark that. Let's see if we want that. Yeah, I think it's advantageous. It will make things more consistent with, like, I think that Reddit uses GitHub flavored Markdown. So the thing about Markdown is that it's a language that is so free-flowing that everyone created their own flavors. But the GitHub flavor seems to be favored by some people like Reddit. And I think that Stack Overflow also uses that.
Cool.
So let's use this flavor and let's use version 1. So
I think even
stop.
YouTube uses some form of Markdown, because in YouTube you can also do asterisk text asterisk and you'll get it in bold.
Yeah, I don't think it's Markdown. It's just asterisks that work. But if you want to have like a link, it doesn't work.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, so let's try this. So we are using parse, and right after we are using GitHub flavored Markdown.
Cool.
And then we can uncomment this.
So many notes, though I don't know if I'll later be able to read my notes.
So if everything worked, I'm going to restart the server and the HTML files will not have changed. And they didn't. So that's good. Now you have some state-of-the-art Markdown rendering on your website. Awesome. Now, what I don't like, the thing that I want to try to do next is, well, you know what? I'm just going to finish what I started. So said that we wanted this to be more like Markdown-ish. Oh no. My computer really is falling apart. My touchpad is not working anymore.
Oh no.
Yeah, I guess it is because I am streaming so hard that my computer just can't handle it.
It's throwing things away.
Oh, fuck. I really like these touchpads because of how they work, but they break so often. This is my second already, and it's just a nightmare. So I'll turn off my second display, which will break things in terms of the screen, so that I can plug in the cable. Maybe that will fix things. Sometimes plugging in the cable fixes things. Yes. But now the stream is looking like crap, right?
Let me check. I'm having also maybe an internet issue. Let it catch up a few seconds. I don't see it looking different.
Okay. Let me double check here in OBS. Seems okay. Yeah, so by the way, Arya, Bo is asking about the Serban leveler. Have you tried it? And Bo is asking if the battery is the problem. Yeah, on my other one, the one that is broken, I can click on things and I can move the cursor around, but when I click, I don't have any feedback. It doesn't vibrate. And then this, I think, is just the battery running out. Yeah, the battery was 15%, but instead of just telling me, yo, your battery, what it does instead is it starts failing.
Bo, I don't know what Serban leveler is. So no.
And Arya, now that I don't have this,
and I'm not seeing.
Yeah, I had to disconnect my second screen, so it means that I can no longer follow the chat on this one. So can you please?
I'll keep an eye on it. Sure.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so where are we? Well, this Coursler stuff we can close, and we already imported this. So now let's transform this into Markdown. The first thing that stands out is this H2. It has a class, so you can have it just like this. We have it right now, and it works. But ideally, you would use the Markdown syntax for an H2, which is this. So for that to work, we'll have to change the styles in the page. So when we are using the heading class, that is ridiculous. Why do we need that? I forget. Instead of having that, we'll take out these styles. And I don't think we are using this anywhere. Right, so we are safe to just come here to the place where we import the body. And we can say that H2s have this style. And now we are actually writing Markdown. It's going to be converted into an H2, but it's going to look the same. But note that it doesn't have a class anymore.
Okay.
So this is already from the Markdown being parsed, which is great. Then the HTML is going to change because of some classes that no longer exist. And yeah.
So just to make sure I understand classes right, that's like you have a few settings for what things look like this is their font, this is their color, blah, blah, blah. And then you can later give them a class for whatever, for example, I want to look exactly like my header on top of paragraphs, right?
Yeah, so classes, they are just a way for you to find stuff in the HTML. And that is useful in CSS. When we are writing CSS, we can find stuff by the tag name, but we can also find stuff by the class. So let me find a class here, like link, like so. So you can find this dot link means find elements in the HTML that have a class of link, just like this one.
Cool.
But a class can also be used to find stuff from JavaScript. Sorry. For instance, I can use, this is JavaScript that I'm writing, and I can find an element that has that class too. So a class is just a way to find stuff in the HTML, and that is useful for styling, useful for scripting.
Cool.
And sometimes even useful for organizing things and documenting things. Like if you just have a div and it's just a div, it has no meaning, right? A div has no meaning. It's not paragraph. It's just a box. So you can sometimes have a class here like, I don't know, bio, and then it's communicating what this is about. Sometimes classes are used for that as well. Okay, so let's finish converting this from HTML to Markdown. In Markdown, if you have two spaces, that's two new lines, that's already a paragraph. So you don't need to use the P tag. And then a link, we know how to write that one. We saw an example on the GitHub page. And this is what it looks like. And then for images,
Markdown, can I use tab spacing and stuff like that? Is that fine, or should I just do like multiple spaces in a row?
What do you mean by tab spacing? Do you mean something like this?
Yeah, exactly. To like align a few texts.
Okay, I will show you. I tend to write everything in a line like this. I think it makes more sense. So the thing is still running and everything is still working. Even the links here are still working. Or I guess this link is still working. So let me change the text real quick to prove that it is working and that it is updating. Yeah, I was afraid that that was going to happen. Let's see. I think I know what that is. Yeah, okay. It's updating.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, what was I saying? Yeah, spacing. Okay, I'll show you what spacing does. So if you indent stuff like this in Markdown, this means this is a piece of code. So it's going to turn into a piece of code. I'll show you what that looks like on the page. Yeah, it is now showing as code. In other words, it's not wrapping. And we could give this a monospaced font and everything, but yeah, that's what it means. So you have to be careful about the spacing. Some spacing has meaning, some doesn't. And there is one final thing in the transformation, which is an image can be written like this. So it's very similar to a link. This is where it's linking to, and this is the alternate text. Okay, so this is just a link, right? But if you put an exclamation mark, it becomes an image. So let me restart the server and then it didn't work. Why? Oh, because of the space. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Remember how we had to transform spaces when we were doing our first stream together?
Yeah.
Yep, same story. There we go. Here it is. So it's up to you. If you want to do images using the Markdown style, you can. That's how this works. If you want to use the image tag, it's also fine. In fact, I prefer in my stuff to use the image tag because in some cases I want to be explicit about the size of the image, especially when I have something that is double the size, so I can resize it down for Retina.
So I tend to ask that.
Yeah, so I prefer to do it like this. So I guess I'm going to do it the way that I prefer, and I'm going to leave that for you to decide later. So what I tend to do is to be explicit about the size of the image. Right now, we resize this image so it's double the length of this column, so it works perfectly. And we are going to change the image anyway. But in case we change the layout of the website, we don't want to have to change all the material, right? All the blog posts. So I prefer to just have this as like it's 1500 right now. I divide that by 2 and that's my width. So I say that my width is 750.
I decided to change that image as a homework for myself because I think it'd be very easy. I'll just upload the file and change that. And I guess a new lesson is don't have spaces in the name of my images because I will definitely forget at one point.
Well, if you're importing images using HTML tags, then it works fine. It's just Markdown doesn't like that. Okay, so the image is still there, nothing changed visually, but the underlying HTML changed a bit because of spaces, and we have an explicit width. But that's all there is to that. Next, I was using this tool called Nodedev to restart the server every time that the JavaScript file changed, but we also want to restart the server every time that one of the Markdown files change. So I'll now pull in a different tool. Instead of Nodedev, I will install Nodemon. And let's wait for the installation to finish, because then it will show up here. There it is. So with Nodemon, we can, I guess, look at the docs. And we'll have to pass an extension and everything. So we want to change the extensions. So we say, what extensions are we looking for? Well, JavaScript and Markdown for now. And then what do we want to execute? Index.js. So now, when we npm start, it's watching for JavaScript and Markdown. And so this is the page, it's working. So let's do this side by side. Go to our index.md file. And then change the file and save, and then come to the browser and refresh, and there it is.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's so nice and easy.
It is, isn't it?
And so, okay, so I guess, like, when I make a new blog post on my new website, do I have to like I'd have to create a new HTML page and give it the URL, right? And
yeah,
let me know if this is too early to ask and we're not there yet.
We're not there yet. We'll have something in place for the blog. But there's something that that is still bugging me about this implementation here, which is we have to be explicit about all the pages. Wouldn't it be better if we could just traverse this directory, look for all the Markdown files, and convert them?
Like automatically, yeah.
Yeah.
I love when things happen automatically.
Yeah, so for that, I'm going to install a library called Globby, I think that's the name. Yes. And I don't really remember everything about this library, but we'll see. Oh, has this been updated for ECMAScript modules too? I think it has. Yes, so we want a version that is prior to that. So npm install globby at that version. And import globby. So let's do that right next to the file system stuff. Let's leave this path, which is a standard library, as the first import. And then down here, we can start using globby. So let's start the server. And let's leave this running at the bottom, just so we can see what's going on. So I want to find all files that end in MD. Let's see. The way I can do that is, let's console log this result, just to see result. So I'll wait on globby and I'll pass the pattern. Oh, it can be just a string. It doesn't have to be an array. So I'll pass the pattern asterisk. Asterisk means in whatever directory. And then I want any Markdown files. I think this is going to find more than just the ones we want, right? It's going to find every Markdown file in every dependency that we have in Node modules. So we want to ignore that directory. So let's see how we ignore. Oh, we can just ignore everything in the git ignore. That's cute. Let's do that.
It respects it.
Let's see what comes out now. Yes, so we have README, which is We don't need to transform README, but all right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we want to ignore some stuff in there as well. So I guess I will be explicit about the things that I want to ignore. How do I ignore just certain paths? Is it like exclude, include? I think that this library is actually an extension of another one. So maybe the documentation for that will be in the other one. Yes, ignore. Okay, so I'll ignore /node modules. I'll ignore /media. I'll ignore readme markdown. Let's see what comes out this time. Oh, it's not ignoring the node modules directory, so I guess I'll have to do it like this. Or maybe the / in the beginning is not making it too happy. Okay. Now we only have this migration folder that we need to ignore. So I guess I don't even need this part. Let's also ignore the migration folder. And here we are. These are the files that we care about.
Mm-hmm.
So now we can for each one of these files, we can call page something like this. But now page is only being used in a single place. So we can just inline the function back again. Now, the thing to pay attention is that in this case, the file that is coming from here is the full path, while the file in the page function was not with didn't have the extension. So let's go through every use of this to fix it. So for instance, this one is correct. We actually want the extension and everything, the .md at the end. But for this one, we want, so let's maybe have a file HTML. We want an .html at the end, and we want to take the base name of this file, removing the .md extension. And then over here and there, we want to use this file HTML. So now I saved, and it should actually do the thing. Let's see if this worked by going to like the index page. Let's put this side by side. Then I save and refresh. And then for whatever reason, it is producing the bio page here on the home. So something is wrong. Okay, I suspect that it has to do with this. So let's see. So if I get the dir name, not the dir name, I suspect that the problem is here. So if I get the base path, base name of bio/index HTML or index markdown, it is stripping away the directory, right? It's getting rid of this bio part. But that's easy to fix. We know that the file extension is .md, so we can just slice this string. We don't take anything from the beginning, but we remove this string from the end. And let's prove that this works. So if I have bio something.md, then I get just that. And that's ready for me to append the .html at the end. Okay. And I guess because this is called file HTML, I'll call this one file markdown. Let's review that everything in here makes sense. Yeah, that looks good to me. Let's start the server, and the HTML should not change. But it does. So what's up with that? Oh, haha, it changes with the change that I created. Okay, so the server is running. We have the hello file, the hello at the end of this file.
Mm-hmm.
We can refresh, we see the page, and then I'll put some hello world and refresh the page, and there it is.
There it is. Cool. Easy peasy.
Yeah, that was much less frustrating than this part. Okay. So now we have a great infrastructure for so little code. We have a great infrastructure. We have most of the things that a basic static website generator would give you. A basic static website generator would convert Markdown into HTML for you. It would give you a template and, of course, more features. But this is a very good start.
Yeah, for my needs, this is perfect. Because I also don't do too many crazy things like when I write blogs or, images, links, text, bold, italic. That's all I need, really.
Perfect. So let me see here in this Markdown file if there's anything else that we want to change. Yeah, there are things that could be improved. Let's see. For instance, when you quote, we could use the typographer quotes or curly quotes, smart quotes. You know what I mean?
No.
Okay, so let me show you. This is what a single quote looks like. This is what a double quote looks like. This is what typographer single quotes look like and typographer double quotes look like. Guess everything being in this monospaced font doesn't really help get my point across. Let me go to text edit and show you this.
The typographer one kind of looks like a comma just above rather than being like a...
I think that this will make more sense. Right?
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay, I see what you mean. I mean, for the font size of that bio, is it a noticeable thing, is the question.
When you know this... it's just one of those things. When you know this, it sticks out like a sore thumb. It's very annoying. But when you don't know, you don't care.
I was saying this at last night's live stream to my people. Like, their cameras all kind of looked different levels of bright. And they were like, is anybody's going to notice? I'm like, well, there are 10 nerds who are going to notice and be really annoyed by it. Probably most people are. But yeah, I know what you mean. Like, you can't unknow certain things like that.
Yeah, and yeah, if there is that book, Practical Typography. Remember how I recommended this to you?
Go on.
It starts, the first thing is convincing you that you should read this book and how to pay for the book, which is also important. It's not a free book, it's publicly available, but you have to pay for it. In any case, it's convincing you why you should read the book, and then it starts talking about how to write, how to type. And this section, I think, is probably the most influential for me after having read the book. It changed the way that I type, which is something that I do for the most of my existence. So it has that huge of an influence on me. And the first topic is actually the quotes. So then in here, you can learn how to type I just typed the right quotes in TextEdit.
Alt 0145, Alt 0146.
Yeah, that's how you do it on Windows, which is annoying. On Windows, when I'm on Windows, I use Auto Hotkey to have a keyboard shortcut for typing these things. But in macOS, you don't have to. You can just use these keyboard shortcuts. And that's how I type these days. Even if I'm like texting you some message on Skype, I will use these quotes. It's just ingrained into the way that I type.
Yeah, I also, I used to transcribe, so the muscle memory goes deep for me, but yeah, I'll try.
And also ellipses. Ellipses are not dash, dash, dash. They are one character, and it looks the same. But when I move my cursor, you can see that it's not the same. Yeah, so like that, many things. And when you learn these things, you see them all over. And it does give you some credibility when you get it right. But just for those people who care. So
cool. Yeah, I mean, so you would just kind of be searching and replacing, I'm assuming, right?
There are different ways of doing this. You can use, I guess probably there is something like remark quote or whatever. No, remark JS quotes. Block quotes, linked block code. Let's search for smart quotes. Remark Smarty Pants. There you go. It's
Love
not
these names.
It's not only for quotes. It's also for, I guess, ellipses. So yeah, quotes, dashes, and ellipses. Yeah, dashes. Hyphen is not a dash. Let me go back to TextEdit to show you this. So this is like plug in. This is a hyphen. And then some separation for another sentence. So something like yada, yada, yada. And then a dash. Doesn't look the same. It's longer.
Right.
And then when you say something like Brussels, Paris, this dash is not the same as this dash, which is not the same as this hyphen. In the Practical Typography book, they explain the differences. I'm not going to go into that, but yeah, cool. This Smarty Pants thing is going to convert all of this for you. The problem is that it cannot get everything right because there are some words that just don't work the way you would expect. For instance, in Hawaiian words, it cannot get it right. I can show you from this book. Where is it? I remember seeing an example, but it may not be here. Maybe it's in the apostrophes section. Yeah, see? So this is something that Smarty Pants would get wrong. So I prefer to not enable these kinds of tools and just compose the text with the correct characters. But it's up to you.
I would like to have manual control and then just kind of try and learn it. Yeah.
And the second thing is coming from probably the tool that we use to convert the RTF into Markdown. It put a bunch of those non-breaking spaces in lots of places, but then it's breaking the layout. For instance, here, it's breaking the layout. This is a no-breaking space in the beginning. That's why the I...
intentional.
Oh, so you want to have an indentation?
At the beginning of paragraphs? Yeah, isn't that kind of common?
Okay, three things. First, if we want to have indentation, let's do it some other way, not using these kinds of spaces. Second, it is usual to have either spaces between paragraphs or indentation, not both.
But not both. Interesting.
Yes. And the third thing I forget.
Cool. Then I would rather have a line space versus just that one space.
So you mean this space
Yes,
over
and
here?
and then the option space ones at the beginning, no.
Yeah. So in books, you tend to find paragraphs smushed together and then some indentation to separate them. And there is a function
Both
to this.
said the same thing in the chat. Indentations are mainly used when there's no extra line spacing. This is kind of depressing me because I'm wondering if my editors when I was writing for zines were constantly fixing this stuff for me and not letting me know, or do they not know?
Yeah, so in print, you have a space constraint. You're paying for paper. So you want to keep things smushed together. And it's and there is a function to these spaces, right? It helps you tell the paragraphs apart. So it's important to have some sort of notion of where a paragraph starts and when another one begins. When a paragraph ends and another one begins. So there are different ways of doing this. You'll see in like some newspapers and in old texts, you will see this character to separate paragraphs, and it goes in a single line. So that's one way. It's not ideal. And if you have a bunch more space like we do these days, then in paper, like on newspapers, we have a bunch more space. Then you do paragraphs is much together and an indentation. So that's what you see in most books and newspapers. Then on the web, the tradition is mostly to use spaces between paragraphs and not a leading. But of course, you'll find plenty of exceptions. You'll find books that look like spaces between paragraphs. You'll find websites that do indentation. So it's a matter of style. If you want the thing to look more traditional, and if you want to look like an old book, you could even use the paragraph symbol. I think it's called the Pilcrow.
Yeah, no. Let's just go with a space, like a line break, and no space at the beginning, which again is something I'll have to remember because it's so in my muscle memory. I think in Farsi we do both, or at least that's my defense right now. But no, I guess I just didn't know this. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
There you go.
See, it looks so wrong to me because I'm so used to the wrong way. I'm like,
let's try. Let's try. Maybe we'll like the way that it looks. It is so easy. It doesn't hurt. So let's go to where we have this. And where is this space even coming from? Why does this have a margin? Okay, I understand. It is because of this. So we comment this, or we remove it. We have git. We can always revert. So we take this out and we say that not the first paragraph, right? The first paragraph you never indent. But the following paragraph, so whatever paragraph that is coming after something, we can say text indent of, I don't know, a space of 4 maybe. And this is what it looks like.
Hate that. Let's go back to how it was.
Okay.
Because I feel like those spaces, I don't know, they just give you a breathe. It makes the text look more manageable. This looks like a rant on a far right web, like, but this is like, you'll get some breaks. You can get off the reading bus whenever you want.
And we can try to do a quick search and replace, which may not be complete and ideal, but because this text is so short, we can find places where we have a single quote after a space, and then we can replace that with a single space and open quote. But I guess I'll leave this to you as homework because there are some other things that you may want to change. After you read the Practical Typography book, I think that the tradition, at least in the US, you have to take that in account, okay? The tradition of the Practical Typography book is the US tradition. And different countries do these things different ways. For instance, in the UK, they swap single and double quotes.
That's right, yeah.
The punctuation is also different. So if there is something like end quote, and then comma, in the US tradition, you would put the comma inside. So,
which is just wrong. It's just wrong.
we can have this debate, but it's not wrong because the comma is just floating around here. And if you put it before, of course, this is mono-spaced font, so it doesn't really show that thing all that well. But the reason why they swapped the thing in the US is for, well, one, tradition. But I kind of get behind that tradition. I think it makes sense. Unlike pounds and feet, and I think that this one has some merit to it.
Yeah.
And the merit is, if you have something like this, the punctuation kind of is next to the thing that it ends. And you can argue that then the quote is just floating in there. That's a fair argument. But if you do it like this, then the punctuation just looks like it's floating after the text. So I think it doesn't bind that well. And that's why they do it that way in the US. So I kind of get behind that tradition.
To me, like, if the punctuation is part of the quote, it should be inside the quote. But if it's like, if you are saying, quote, then that comma that comes after the quote belongs to the conditional sentence that starts outside the quote. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so some people would argue, and I don't agree with the argument, but some people would argue that actually you should do it like this.
Yes.
And that is too computer science-y for me. I mean, semantically, it is the most correct, or I guess syntactically, it's the most correct thing. But this just bugs the hell out of me. What is this? Tradition.
It's like a cute smiley face, no? It's a cat with two curled hairs.
It's a matter of tradition. You can, as you mentioned, in Farsi you do it differently. So what you're used to becomes the correct for you. So.
Yeah. Bo in the chat says the inch quotes is a leftover from typewriters that didn't have proper ones, so people were taught to use the inch quotes, and it's just carried on to digital publishing.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not only inches, right? Like minutes and seconds. You can say like 2 single quote, 36 double quote.
Yeah, and that is wrong actually.
All kinds of things.
When you see something, when you see something like this, this is actually a compromise between what you would like to type and the thing that you can actually type on a typewriter or on a computer if you don't want to be fancy about the way you type. Because it shouldn't even be an opening quote or a closing quote. No, it should be a prime, which is a different character. Suppose in text edit I will be able to show you this. So let's see. This is a straight quote. That's the one that comes with the keyboard. This is an opening and a closing quote. And then let's put a prime. For a prime, I cannot just type it in a keyboard. There is no way for me to type that, but I can always search for it. So this is what a prime looks like. See, it's not the same.
It's not the same as the one on top of tilde, because that's the other way around.
Oh, so that's a backtick. Yeah, it's not the same as that.
Cool.
No. Yeah, so this is a prime, and of course, similarly, there is a double prime, if that's what you need. And it goes even further, because Unicode has every character you can imagine. It has even 4 ticks. But there are some fonts that don't even have this character in the character set, so that's a compromise that you sometimes are forced into because of the font. Okay, so that much is working. We have a bio, we have a homepage, they link to each other. We have something that allows you to just create new pages, right? If you want to create a new page area, all you have to do is create a directory with an index.md file in there, and it will start working.
Cool. Maybe I'll have a crack at making a tutorial page, and if I fail, whatever.
Yeah, you can do some of the pages that you have here, like the reel, for instance.
Yeah, reel is like embedded videos, and that's really it.
Yeah, so embedded videos is easy to do, right? If you try to embed a video, YouTube is going to give you some HTML. You paste the HTML in Markdown, and it will just work.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll have a go at trying some of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so how about we go meta and we embed our own and it will just work.
Yeah.
Stop that. Let's copy embed code into the home page. And let me start the server. Go to the home page. And here is the thing. Now,
cool.
The layout is broken, but in fact, let's fix this now since we know that we want to be able to embed stuff. So where we are here, I'll just say that iframes have a max width of 100% and a height automatic. In fact, I think that we have something like this already in the code. Yes, we have it for images. How about we just say that iframes have the same property? And we'll even get rounded corners on the iframes.
Cool.
And it doesn't look too nice. So maybe what
the
we would...
size shrunk.
Yeah, so maybe what we would have to do is come here to this width and height situation and change this a bit.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if I just don't have it?
As long as it's the 16 by 9.
There you go. And I suppose that we can leave the width and take out the height, so it will keep the proportion, but I'm not sure.
Aspect ratio.
Yeah, it will not. So I guess the way to... I haven't really worked with iframes all that much, so I don't really know how to do this, but maybe the solution would be to do the mathematics of this. So we know that the column is 510 wide, so you can go like 510 by... so we want it to be 16 by 9, so we divide by 9 and multiply by 16. And no, the other way around, divide by 16, multiply by 9. And there you go, 286.
Bo says also, if you have capital letters in regular copy, like IBM, they should be brought down in size by 80 to 90%. Or I guess you mean 280, 90%. Like not shrunken 80%, but just shrunken 20% to be 80%.
Yeah, so I couldn't get the mathematics right. It didn't work. But never mind that. I'll leave that for you. At least it's not overflowing. So there is at least that. But Bo is saying that if you have something like IBM, it should be smaller, right?
Yeah.
That's not quite the full story. I will show you. Now we are getting very deep into the fancy typography territory. But let me show you. So if you have something like IBM, and let's use a font that I know will be a good example for this. Well, let's first of all make it bigger so we can actually see the difference. And I don't think that this font will have what I need. No. But let me think of a font that I know will have it. Will have this. San Francisco should have it. Maybe. Uppercase, small capitals. Yes, there you go. San Francisco has that. So, okay, I can explain what I want to explain. Okay, so here is IBM written in the way that you would write IBM. I wrote IBM, didn't change the text in any way. Now, let's do what Bo is proposing. Let's take IBM and make it smaller. So this is 53, so let's go like maybe to 49, 48, something like this. So what is the intent? The intent is that it's going to go better with the text around it. It will match the size of the text around. This supposedly looks like you're shouting, and this goes better with the text around it because it's an acronym. It's not shouting. Okay, so that's the intent. That's why you decrease the font size. But what is incorrect about this is the stroke width. So let's exaggerate by making this way smaller. And of course, now it doesn't match the text around it, but you can see that when I decrease the size of the font, it reduces the stroke width, right? This stroke is thinner than this one. See? And of course, if I make the effect extreme by going too small, then you can see it, but on larger sizes, you may not be able to see it, so you may get away with this. The stroke width here is slightly wrong, but you may just not notice, and you may just be happy. So if I put a line here, you'll see that the stroke width is slightly different, ever so slightly, by maybe half a pixel or whatever. It's lost in the small details, so it doesn't work. It doesn't matter. But that's... if you have a professionally designed font like San Francisco Mono, and it is a very high-end font. It's, if you wanted to use it in a project, you couldn't even, because it's something that is only for Apple stuff. It's a font designed by Apple, and if you go with the system fonts here, you will have a hard time finding a font that has this feature, but most paid fonts will have this feature, and some free ones as well. I can point you at the free fonts that have this. But in any case, what you actually want is to go into the advanced typography here, and you want to change something about the font. You can do this, right? For instance, you can say that there are these extra settings on the font that you can change. For instance, you can say that you don't want a slash in the font. And you can change these advanced settings in CSS as well. Now, what you actually want is to have the thing called small capitals. Now, I guess you can already tell that they look different, they feel different, the spacing is different.
Yeah, I don't like them, they're weird.
They match the rest of the design of the font in a way that makes more sense. Let's take this measurement here, for instance. Yeah, it is not the same height as the lowercase letters, slightly bigger because they are capital letters, but they were optically aligned by a designer to look the way that they look. And more importantly, the stroke width is exactly the same as this one. It's exactly right. And it takes as much space, and yeah. So technically speaking, Bo, you should not resize, and some people will compensate for the stroke width by making it bold. And maybe this is too bold, but you can go like semi-bold or medium, and you can find the right match for the font. So this is in regular and medium. This is slightly bolder, so you can make it smaller, make it slightly bolder, make it slightly more spaced. You can increase the letter spacing. I don't know how to do that here. But you can increase the letter spacing. You can sort of fake your way into the small capitals, but really what you want is to use small capitals. That's the real answer for this. Okay.
Adapt Garamond has the X height capitals. I don't know what that is, but maybe you do. Garamond? I may be just spelling it or pronouncing it wrong.
Okay, yeah. So let's try this one. Oh, I don't have it. Oh, maybe if I go to all fonts. Yeah, maybe it's Adobe. I think I had something equivalent to that. I think it comes with the system, doesn't it? Nope. But it's a very famous font. So, yeah, maybe the version that you have... what does it have? You said X height something?
And you need to use Adobe's version, he says. It has X height capitals, he said. I don't know what that is.
Okay. So X height is just the height of a lowercase x. It's usually the height of the lowercase characters. And yeah, if you have X height capitals, it means small capitals, I suppose. I don't remember hearing that term, but that's what I understand of it. Okay, so what were we doing? we were putting the frame styles. That's all right. So you have some homework. I removed the video from here, but your homework is to recreate some of these pages in a way that you like. At least put the material in there. We can restyle things later.
Cool.
And let me see if there is something else that I want to change before we move on to the next task. Yeah, okay, all right. It was a struggle to write this, but look at this. This is doing most of what a static website generator does for you. Isn't that something?
That's incredible, yeah. Thanks a lot. And you know...
Yeah, so we said that we wanted to get the homepage in shape for a transition. I guess we have that, right?
Looks good, yeah.
Yeah.
Got a bio.
So now let's maybe not do this and start the transition instead. Well, you already did that, but let's talk about DNS, right?
Sure. I have to leave in 30 minutes, so is there time to do that now, or should we leave it for next week?
No, it should be
30 minutes
quick.
Is good?
Yes.
Cool.
So what you have to do is go to the new registrar, which in this case is Namecheap, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you go there, and in fact, I'm going to do the same as you, but I am going to... Oh, I will have to log in, so let me switch to a screen in which to a scene in which you don't see my screen. Like this. So I'm going to be logging in to Namecheap, and we are going to go together. Of course, I don't have access to your domain, but I can show you where things are supposed to be.
Where did I actually kind of clicked through and went a couple of steps, but now I can't find that tab because I have a jillion of them. So I'm just gonna go back. If it asks me username and password, I'll be like, I don't have it.
Okay, so this is what Namecheap looks like. And let's go to maybe my domain, and I can show you how to set things up. So first thing you want to do is on this page. Do you have one that looks like this?
No, not that I'm seeing. Give me 1 second. Go to your account. No, you can't go there. I'll go to my dashboard. It does not look like yours whatsoever.
Do you have in the domain list? Do you have the domain there?
I do not.
So when you set up the transfer,
some time.
When you set up the transfer, did you do something on the Namecheap side or just on the Wix side?
Well, on the Namecheap side, it was like important, connect your DNS. So I clicked on it, and now I don't know where that is. And
yeah, but what did you do on the Wix side? Did you tell it to transfer to Namecheap in some way?
On Wix side, I said transfer domain and said, here's the authorization code, and it's valid for 48 hours or something. So I put it in Namecheap. I paid Namecheap, and then they were like, cool. But nobody I don't know.
Okay, so maybe Namecheap did not create this yet for you. One thing about Namecheap that I love is that when you go to contact us, you can talk to someone live. You can chat. Okay. Someone will be there 24/7, cool. At least in my experience. So you can ask them, like, I started this transfer. It's not showing up on my domain list. Is this normal? How long is this going to take? But at some point, you will have your domain on the list, and then you will have some things here that you will want to change, like email redirection. You will want to add a forwarder that will point at your Gmail.
Yeah.
And then over here in advanced DNS, we'll have to include some entries, specifically these entries, these 4 entries. These are saying that your domain will point to GitHub. These are the IP addresses for GitHub. So you just have to add these 4 entries with these 4 numbers, which is also documented on the GitHub pages documentation. You can just paste these numbers in and it will just work.
Cool.
More or less.
Yeah,
There's more to this
I'll
story.
kind of try to keep an eye on this. I'm kind of sad because it was there and I just lost it because I'm dumb. But if I found it, I'll let you know. And otherwise, this will be something we'll look at.
Yeah, I guess there is one thing that I really, really want to do before this domain is transferred and before we lose stuff. I want to scrape the images. I want to get the images and the zips and whatnot. And it will be so quick to do that I really think that we should do that. So we have our migration script and we have almost everything we need in here already. So we already have the images JSON file, which is just a list. So let's require the images JSON file. I'm mostly worried about the images because they have been modified by Wix. Now the zips, they may be on a different URL and it may be crazy. Let's see what they are doing here. Download zip. Then there is an iframe. Oh no, that's weird. That's too weird. But I think that the zips will not change.
There's a thing around the zip. Like it's not like you click and you get the zip. There's some fancy schmancy stuff around it. I can send you the link to one of the blogs that has a zip if you want to see it.
Yeah, I think it's doing some crazy stuff with the zip. But at least, well, we have fewer zips. And yeah, so I'm not too worried about the zips. And the zips are going to...
Yeah, I can totally manually do that bit of it if need be.
Yeah, so we don't have as many of them, and they have not been modified by Wix in any way, right? I mean, what are you going to do?
I hope not.
Compress the zip again? So
yeah,
I'm mostly worried about the images. So I want to download the images. I'm sure I want to download the images. So let's download the images, and then we'll wrap this. So we already have the list of images. That's we collected this last time.
Yeah.
And here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to loop.
Sorry, I'm yawning too much. Very under... What do you call it? Did not sleep a lot.
Oh, I slept so well. Baby's on vacation.
That's nice. Oh.
So I'm going to download this, and we have to think about how we are going to name them because all of them are named file.png.
Bunch of garbage, yeah.
Yeah, for the time being, I'm going to download them as 0 PNG, 1 PNG, 2 PNG, and they're going to match the indices on this array. So later we can come up with a naming scheme that we like. But for now, that will do it. And I suppose they are mostly PNGs. There is also a GIF and some JPEGs. So yeah, no big deal. So we'll just say that file is images, or maybe even image is images at index. And we want to download this. So let's get the extension.
The red looks good with the dark gray and black, Bo says. Thank you, Bo.
Sorry, what was that?
I think it's somewhat of an older comment, but yeah, on our main page we have kind of the red notice up top and the gray and black backgrounds. He likes that. I like that too.
Great. Yeah, so we can test that this is going to do the right thing. So when we have an image that is like one of these, this should get the extension at the end. Oh, let me grab another one. That one. And let's put quotes around the thing. Okay. So that's .png. That's what we get, .png. So the file that we want to download will be called How about we put it on a folder? So let's create an images folder, and it will be called images/index extension. So that's the name of the file that we want to produce. I'll call this file. And then we actually need to download the thing. We already have got here. I don't remember why we had it. Oh, because we were getting that. Okay, so we can use that. Await got of image and await fs write file of file with that. How about we start simple? Let's visit this first image on the browser, and that's what the image looks like. So
Okay.
now we can duplicate this, remove all the lines except for the first one, and then we run migrate, not migration. We go to the migration directory and we run migrate.js, and it should download that image. Now let's open images 0 PNG, and it's empty. That's because I forgot again the thing that I forgot last time. I have to say .body. Let's run the migration again. And this time, it's still not there. It is a bunch of binary things, so it looks like an image.
If we just navigate to that folder, like in the Finder, will we see an image there, or will we see something weird?
We don't see anything. It's corrupted.
Oh.
But it has material in there. It's binary. It's just corrupted. So,
Maybe.
But the image
is
exists.
Wix doing this intentionally?
No. The image is here.
Oh.
We can see it. I am making a mistake in the script, I think.
I
Let's
just
see.
hate Wix.
Download file. Download. Save to file. You know what? I'm going to bring in another dependency. There's a dependency called download, and lo and behold, it downloads stuff. But I don't remember how to use it, so download npm. No, not that. npm im download. Okay. Isn't the new Safari fun? It takes the color of the top of the page and changes the color of the tab to match.
Semi-fun.
Safari 15 is a fun guy. Okay, so we require download, and over here we just say, well, let's do asynchronously, not that it matters. But then this is the file that we want to produce, and this is the URL that we want to download from, which is called image in our case. So now let's give this a try. And there it is. So now we can copy this back into there and remove the copy file and run the migration script, which this time may take a little while because it's going to download all the images that you have ever produced.
Tons of images.
But it's going to finish, and then I may even commit and push this depending on how big it is.
Yeah, I guess the originals before the resizing were 173-ish megabytes, if my memory serves me right. So this should theoretically be less than that.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. Do we know how many lines we have? we expect to see, oh, it's running away from me. We expect to see, well, the first line is an opening bracket, so we expect to see 207 images.
Cool.
Right? So
sounds all right.
At this rate, until we can wrap this up and say goodbye, we will have finished this. So, and let's see the size of this thing. Yeah, it's around 10 megabytes right now. So I think that the whole thing will be around 20, which is completely fine.
Very respectable. Yeah, respectable size.
Yeah, very acceptable. So I think I will commit and push this. But meanwhile, let's look at the diff for this. I changed the migrate file and the dependencies. And this is something I want to commit. Then here on the README, we started the transition. You did everything you could. And we scraped at least the images. So I think we nailed this. Mission accomplished.
Cool.
And same for the images. I think that it finished. So we started counting with 0, which means that we have 207 images.
Cool.
Let's look at the size of the directory. Is it really 11 megabytes? I think it is. Yeah, it is 11 megabytes.
Awesome.
So I'm going to commit this as well because 11 megabytes is nothing. So I'm committing this. I'm pushing the whole thing, and then you all will be able to see this over at this URL. And hopefully soon, when Aria finishes the transition, you see it in IDDQDsound.com as well.
So homework-wise, I'm putting content in, not worrying too much about style, but I may have a play with the styles just for my own education. And I should just stay on top of the DNS server thing, and I'll even talk. I'll just take their contact us thing for a spin on Namecheap. Another thing is, I think, Leandro, that this is gonna be quite annoying to you probably. Since the last time that we scraped all the data, I think I've written a few blogs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop for now writing blogs. But yeah, we may have to scrape a couple more blog posts that I've done since last week's stream. I think I've done 2.
Okay, scrape new posts. In fact, I think that this part we can do manually probably. Because the domain will transition and we'll lose access to those. So do you have like the images, zips, and everything for the posts?
For the new ones, yeah.
Okay, so I'll let you migrate this by hand. It could be a fun exercise to get to get used to Markdown and to the whole composition process with posts that you already have. So we'll leave this for later. But yeah, cool. Everything that you write from now on, make sure that you save a copy.
Cool. And I guess you will show me next time when I want to make like a new page when I do a new blog, how to do that.
Yeah. I mean, we don't even have the blog yet.
Yes. I'll make at least the like landing page of the blog. I'll try to make all the landing pages if something wacky doesn't come up. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll try to get that to happen.
Okay, so I think that's it for now. Thank you, Aria, for joining me on this adventure.
This has been very good for me. Honestly, I'm very happy to get to save a bunch of money. That's always awesome. So,
well, you're paying it with your time.
I mean, my money is worth more than my time now. Does that make sense? Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't make sense. But I mean, it's not like I turned down any jobs to be here, and it's very educational for me. So thank you.
Yeah, and for me, it's good because I am putting some of my libraries to test, and even this approach of sort of hand rolling your own static website generator. It's not for the faint of heart. For instance, this was painful for me to write, but I think it is a good strategy. It gives you so much power for so little, and I mean, you would have to read the documentation for a static website generator the same way that I had to read the documentation for this. But then you have a lot more control. If you want to do mathematics, if you want to create your own ARIA tag, for instance, you could, like in a blog post, you could have an ARIA tag, and the ARIA tag is translated into something special for you. And I know how to do that. I will just take the Markdown, process it, take the HTML, and do something with the ARIA tag.
Oh, is that like, so for example, I end all my blogs by saying, like, if you like the work I do, donate here. And then this is the YouTube channel. This is the GitHub repository. You can have like a tag, and then that'll just put all that stuff there.
Yes, that's something that you can do. But that, I think, would be silly. We could put that in the template.
Oh, okay. So when you said the ARIA tag, is that like a little image or something?
No, it's whatever you want it to be. For instance, we could have a YouTube tag that you maybe just give it the URL for youtube.com/video/some identifier, and then this would turn into the iframe stuff.
Cool.
That you need to embed this. You know, we can create tags like this. You have complete control over the material, and you're not on someone else's platform. If you decide that GitHub is not doing it for you, you take it to another static website host. There are plenty. Most of them are even free, and it's yours.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And I would venture that the amount of work that ends up being like customizing Wix and customizing WordPress is, if you want to do something top notch, it rivals the amount of work that goes into this thing that we are doing. Maybe the work that we are doing is more specialized and it's less visual. There's a lot more like coding going on in terms of writing text as opposed to like dragging and dropping things around. But I think this is a viable approach when you decide to invest and have something that really looks good. So
yeah, it did take me a really long time to do the website as well. Like authoring the text and like content aside, it did take me a long time. And yeah, there was a lot of like annoyance with like, this thing just not resizing how I like it and just slightly bothering me, and then just having to kind of like ignore that stuff.
Yeah. Well, in CSS, there are situations like this where it just doesn't resize the way that you want. We had an experience with the iframe doing that with us, but at least there is always a way out because we have the hands writing the code. We are touching CSS, HTML, and JavaScript with no intermediaries. So there will be a fix. If HTML can do it, we can do it. The HTML can do a lot.
Cool.
I very much trust the web platform. In any case, yeah, let's wrap this up. Thanks, Arya, for being with me, for letting me use my tools and show you how they work, and for believing in my tools and my approach to doing websites.
I believe in,
And tomorrow...
I heard you were saying maybe you are a little over sound design, so we're going to do backing vocals tomorrow?
Yeah, so tomorrow we'll be recording more stuff. I don't know exactly what, but I don't think that the approach we are taking will lead us anywhere. It's too slow, too painful, and we will end up with like a kick and a snare, and we would like to have more variations. That would be extra work. And then at the end, we will have something that at the best sounds like a crappy drum set. At worst, sounds like crap. So maybe we'll do something else that doesn't sound like a snare. But
okay, you want to live perform it, like with the body of the guitar and stuff, like perform the bits?
I don't know, maybe. Or maybe we'll do something else for percussion, like something that does not sound like a snare, but it will take place of the snare, like claps or snaps or, I don't know.
Cool.
Something.
Okay.
Sounds
good.
We may do backing vocals. I don't know. We'll record something tomorrow, and it will be fun.
Cool. All right.
Okay.
So see you tomorrow.
Yes, I see you tomorrow. And thanks everyone who was watching and on the chat. I will now open the chat and reread everything. And yeah, see you tomorrow. Bye.